Welcome, Zoomers. I'm Zoomer Denise, here with my partner Zoomer Butch, Zoomer Diane, and we are in this beautiful Ayurvedic sanctuary, Winds of Change, in Roseville, California, with its founder and an amazing man, Bret Mason. And we're extremely excited today to have Bret share his inspiring story with you of how he completely turned his life around and how what he does with his time, he devotes it to helping others experience wellness and love. And it's just an amazing story. And thank you again for inviting us into your sanctuary and for taking time to share with us. Welcome, Bret Mason.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. And we might add that it smells, the aroma in here today is a wonderful, yummy, homemade kitchery smell that we will be indulging in afterward. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
So, Bret's story begins, well, really, when you were born, but approximately,
The story of me.
the story, approximately a little over 4 years ago, was really when you kind of decided to make some changes, some big changes.
Yes.
Would you mind taking us back to kind of what that looked like and what that time was and what instigated that?
Sure. So I have 6 children and a beautiful wife, and we spent a lot of years raising our kids and doing everything that you need to put food on the table and all that. And so I kind of got away from taking care of myself. And about 4 years ago, I found myself not in really good physical, mental, or emotional shape. I was morbidly obese. I was taking 8 different prescriptions for chronic depression and chronic pain and prednisone and Lexapro and Wellbutrin and all those high-powered medications. And I had trochanteric bursitis, walking with a cane, and I slept with a mask because I had sleep apnea. And so in 2012, the beginning of that year, I just was suffering so intently. And I needed a change, but I didn't really know what to do. And my son came home from college and he put Netflix on my TV. And so one day we were looking at the documentaries of Netflix, and my wife said we should watch one of those, this documentary called Forks Over Knives. And I said, what the heck? And so we put it on, and it was really interesting to me, but it didn't really motivate me too much to do anything different. But Netflix always recommends another. If you like this one, then maybe you'll like this. And
right.
So the very next documentary was Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And I was like, oh my gosh, well, it sounds like me. You
right,
know?
Right.
And so,
hello, looking in the mirror.
Yeah, and
right.
I watched that documentary, and it really got my attention because there was a guy in there who was 100 pounds heavier than me, who I watched do some juicing and get his life back. And so from that video, of course, Netflix kept throwing more videos at me, and I sat and watched about 8 different documentaries on food and where it comes from.
Wow.
And I got this great education, and this it was amazing, all the things that I had learned. And so that night I went to bed, and something changed in me. All the learning that I had been, or the concepts that I had in my mind, really it's like somebody unplugged all that,
Wow.
A great change happened. I can't really explain what that was, but it was an epiphany. It was a vision of my life and the hope of regaining my health. And so I woke up that next morning, and I knew I was cured. I knew I had it in here. I knew what to do. And even though I was still physically in bad shape, mentally I had hope. And it was from the knowledge that I gained on those videos. So,
and you were hopeless.
I was very hopeless. I felt hopeless. I felt like 2012 might be the last year on this planet because I was so sick. I was really was very ill. And so when I woke up, I just got busy right away, and I took the trash can to the back door, and I threw away all the processed food in my house.
That's awesome.
I threw away all the sugary foods and the sodas and the things that had been making me really sick. And
that's what happens when you decide. It's like, okay, I'm purging all this stuff that doesn't work for me and starting brand new.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and
How did your family feel?
well, so it was really difficult because you know, my wife and I had been going down the same path, really, and she wasn't as sick as me, but she was not in the best health either. You know, we had developed really bad habits, and we weren't really paying attention to our food and the choices and the things and following what we all know, you know, that exercise and diet, we just didn't know where to begin and what to do. And so it was a little difficult at first because even though I was changing, she was here, and it looked like we were going in different directions.
Yeah.
So she got a little resentful and afraid. There was a lot of fear involved because, you know, when one person changes in a relationship, you know, it creates fear. The other person feels like maybe they're getting left behind, or that you're going to change so much that you won't need them anymore. And so I just kept reassuring her, no, this isn't about me looking for someone else or me trying to, I just need to feel better. I need to get better. I need to change my health. And
And you were ready, and you just,
I was
from that
ready.
day on, you were
Yes.
on it.
And I went on Craigslist, and I found a $35 juicer that somebody else was not using
That's
anymore.
awesome.
I bought the juicer. I signed up at the swimming pool because I couldn't walk really. I had a cane, and so I started moving my body, which is something I hadn't done in a long time, and I had to do it in a swimming pool because it was low impact, and yet I could increase the movement as I needed to.
Did you know how to swim before that?
Yeah, I used to be a great swimmer. When I was in the Navy, and in my early 20s, I would swim a mile a day.
Oh,
And so, you know, it's kind of funny that when you say this, because I remember sitting one day when I was really ill, checking all the things off of a list of things that I would never get to do again. And
and that was one of them?
yeah, I said, well, I'll probably never get to swim another mile, and I won't go scuba diving. I used to love to do that. And so I had half a dozen things that I probably thought I would never do again. And I've done them all. I've actually done them all.
Congratulations, good for you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
So-
amazing.
Yeah.
That gives me chills.
Yeah, I went back and I said, oh.
So you had a physical list.
I had a list of things
Okay.
that, you know, you have a bucket list of things you want to do, and I had a list of things I would never get to do again because I just felt like I'm too sick or too fat, I'm too out of shape to do those
You
things
couldn't
anymore.
imagine doing those.
I couldn't imagine doing those.
Wow.
So I've been to Hawaii scuba diving, and been to in Jamaica scuba diving, and so it's been amazing.
Oh
It's
my
been
gosh.
great to do the things that I thought. I used to love to play tennis, and I thought, I'll never play tennis again, you know? And I went out and played tennis. And so,
Good for you.
but it took me about 9 months. I lost well over 100 pounds. And I got rid of all the prescriptions I was taking. I was able to eliminate the need for the prescriptions, the depression, and
Did you get rid of all that in 9 months?
in 9 months, I eliminated all that. I completely healed my life in 9 months. I knew the day when I woke up that was going to happen. I knew that I was cured. I knew because I had the knowledge to do it. And that's really where the journey begins with someone, Jim
It's huge to
Rohn.
believe
Yes.
what you're doing is going to work.
Yes, you know, I believe that if anybody wants to change their life, it begins with knowledge. You know, Jim Rohn, which is one of my mentors, says, you know, change doesn't begin with inspiration, it begins with knowledge.
So true.
And so we don't touch the hot stove because we know it's the knowledge that it's going to burn us, right? So we're smart not to. So somewhere along the line, I became inspired to help others learn what it takes to get their life back, and to give them hope and show them a journey, a path that they can go with organic foods and a better selection of foods, knowing what they, what kind of foods are best for them, and movement and breath, which is so vitally important to move your body, whether it's yoga or...
So tell us, can you back up and tell us how that, I know you started doing beginning yoga with your swimming, and was that kind of about the time?
Yeah.
And why did you pick that up?
Well, yeah, I had to start in the swimming pool because, like I said, I couldn't really walk. I was walking with a cane, and I was swimming with at the pool, and a bunch of elderly people were in the pool at the same time, and I couldn't wait to get out of the pool because I just knew that they weren't. They were. I knew they weren't. Yeah, they were. I just knew they were peeing in the pool, but so I got to find another way. But so I was really motivated to get better, and it was probably 6 weeks into swimming where I could walk without a cane, and I was able to walk. And so I started looking for alternatives, and the first thing I did was join a Tai Chi class. And so once a week I was going to do Tai Chi, and at the same time I started walking again, which is an amazing exercise for anybody who wants to get started with just movement. Walking is really one of the best exercises, just plain walking.
Why did you pick Tai Chi?
Because I read that there was a Tai Chi class, and I wanted to do everything. I wanted to experience everything, where I had come from hopelessness, where I was sitting thinking all the things I couldn't do. And I remember watching The Lion King with my grandson for months before I made this change. We would watch The Lion King, and in the beginning of the movie there's a part where they sing the song, and I had never heard that. I had never heard this song, and then once I woke up to all the possibilities and all the things that I could do again in life, then the words of that song really hit me, and it says, when we first arrive on this planet, something like this, when we first arrive on this planet, blinkingly staring into the sun, there is more to see than can ever be seen, more to do than can ever be done. And it just,
I love that movie.
it just hit me. I want to do I want to do everything. And so I joined Tai Chi, and then at some point I found a master, a Shaolin Kung Fu master. He was 86 years old. He's 90 today, but he was in the park teaching Tai Chi for free. And so I went to him every single day for over a year to learn his warm-ups and his Qigong exercises and Tai Chi, the forms of Tai Chi. And
I wanted to try that too. I haven't tried it.
I learned it so well.
It looks like such a beautiful art form of exercise.
Yes. Well, it's more than exercise in that it calms the mind.
Yeah.
And it's really meditation in motion. You have to be present when you're doing it because it requires a sequence of movement and good form. And if you're lost in the world, not thinking of what's going on in the present moment, you'll mess it up, so to speak. So
I would be a chocolate.
You have to be.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I saw on the board at the parks things. It says beginners yoga class on Tuesdays and Thursday nights at 7 p.m. And it was in a cool room. They had nice little lights around the room, and I was still probably 270 pounds or something like this. I mean, it was.
So where did you start, really quick? How heavy were you when you started your?
Well over 300.
Okay.
After you get to 305 and 310, and you keep getting bigger, you just stop weighing yourself and you say, "I'm fat."
Okay.
Okay.
So you lost a significant amount.
Yeah, I lost well over 100.
Okay.
In about 9 months is how long it took me to lose the weight.
So you're doing your yoga.
Yeah, I had a mat, and so I was doing these poses that I had not, and I was like, oh my God, and I was sweating so bad. It was such a horrible, and it was just so hard to me, and it was beginner's yoga. I mean, we weren't doing anything hard, but it was
challenging.
hard for me.
Sure.
And I couldn't even touch my toes. I was just in such horrible shape. But I stuck with it because I knew that I was going to heal. I was on the journey of healing, and I knew that that was put into my path and that I was going to do it. And so I did. And and I stuck with it, you know, and it's become a love of mine. Yoga has changed my life in so many ways. And so I love it, and I share it with as many people as I can. And every recommendation I give, I say, do yoga. It'll also give you good. It'll put you in shape. It'll also put you in shape. You know, there's so much more to yoga. But
Right. Did you know when you embarked upon, took your first Tai Chi and or yoga class, that they would provide this spiritual opportunity for spiritual knowledge and growth and just more than...
No, I had no knowledge of that other than the fact that I had been awakened into some way, and I couldn't explain it. I mean, I really was, you know, during the middle of the night, it just was like, you know, I saw my past, I saw the hopes of the future, all the promises, and I was just dropped into the present moment with all this knowledge, this
And readiness.
intuitive knowledge of what to do. I just knew what to do, but I didn't know why. I started working on the physical part of my life, and I knew what to eat, and I knew that I needed to exercise and all this. But it was a few months into it, I realized that what got me in. The question is, how did I get there?
Right.
How did I get into that shape in the first place? What got me so sick? And so I began the spiritual side of things. I began the spiritual journey to find out, you know, what is it that gets someone so ill?
It's so important to know that to move forward.
Yes.
Right? Because otherwise you still are stuck in that place, right?
Yes. You all the things and the habits and your belief systems that you bring into sickness, you know, they have to be addressed. You have to face them, and you have to heal your life spiritually and emotionally as well as physically. They all go hand in hand. It's the mind-body connection, and so that's what yoga means. Yoga to yoke, bring together the mind and the body and put it together. Because you know, I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, and the first thing that I learned in Ayurveda is that the root cause of all dis-ease in our life is this loss of knowing oneself. It's the disconnection from the life that we are that takes us away, and then we do the wrong things. We eat the wrong things. We have bad habits, and we don't even realize that they're putting us in a state of imbalance that creates dis-ease. That's the whole word, dis-ease. It's not going through life with ease anymore.
Right.
You are out of balance, just like the wheels on a car that are out of balance. It's like you're shaking if you go down the road. So we need to balance the tires on our car, and we need to keep our bodies in balance, and our mind and spirit in balance, so that we go with the flow of life and the ease, and we're not suffering and mental suffering and anguish, the turmoil.
Fighting it.
And fighting.
Yeah, you just let it go, right?
You let it be. You let things be, and you accept things as they are, and you...
There's no more resistance.
No resistance, yes.
Yeah.
Wayne Dyer says, you know, that which you fight only weakens you. And so, you know, we're always trying to put the pieces together. We're always trying to force things in our life. We're always trying to make everything perfect, you know. And it'll never be perfect. And when we realize...
There's no such thing as perfect.
No, as soon as you have the perfect house and the perfect spouse and the perfect kids, and the yard is perfect, and there's no dust on your in your house, and everything is perfect, then don't move.
Exactly. Don't breathe.
Don't move. Don't move.
Yeah. I'm gonna stay like that for a second.
Yeah, maybe it'll stay a second if you can even achieve it, but then something or something's going to happen, and if we're not accepting, if we don't have acceptance, then we resist it, and it just creates this state of suffering.
We should just go with the flow, right?
Go with the flow. Go with what is. Be with what is.
And so you went to school and became a practitioner, and you have the massage certification as well, and that was when you were continuing on your spiritual journey, seeking out to understand and get the knowledge of why and how you got to where you ended up. And so tell us more about your Ayurvedic journey and how that started.
Okay, so somewhere in this awakening process that I had, I took a look around and I looked at our world and I said, what are we doing? You know, we're destroying our planet, we're destroying the oceans, we are destroying the animal kingdom and creating great suffering there, and there's, you know, we're poisoning things, and it needs to change. And so I was inspired to change the world. It's a big job, I know, but
Somebody's got to do it.
somebody has to do it.
There you go.
And so I was inspired to help people. I was inspired to provide and help others awake to an alternative way of living on the
Well, it's that
planet.
ripple effect too. Right?
Yes. And so I was doing some, instead of just going and dropping some money in a bucket at my church, I decided to take some of those resources and go out into my community and give face to face with one person to the other, because to me it felt like, and I'm not against tithing in the church if that's, you know, where, you know, some people have got such busy lives, they need to do that some. But I found myself with some opening there, some space, and I thought, why am I too busy to go help somebody? Why do I want to just give the money and then go and do it? So I decided to do some of these things. And I was looking for opportunities to help others, so I created a program called Movie on the Mat, and I was showing these documentaries for free. I would bring my juicer, and I was juicing for people and doing some things like that. Yes, but I really had no other direction other than this inspiration to help others. And then one day my wife was looking for a way for me to go, and she says, hey, you know, they've got this great program, it's called Ayurveda. And of course I had no idea what Ayurveda was, and it's like went one ear out the other. But she showed me the what do you call it, this syllabus of the course, you know, this thing, and it was pages, and it talked about natural cures, and it talked about this ancient system of healing one with consciousness and being in the present moment, and it talked about diet, and it talked about daily routine and the right way to go. And this knowledge has been around for thousands of years. It's the science of life. Ayurveda really means life knowledge.
Oh, okay.
And so it's the science of life, and it's really very remarkable. But I went to school and I studied very hard. I was a great student, and I graduated from the class. And I spent hours giving massages and everything, and I earned my certified massage therapist certificate through the CAMTC 500 hour, and I'm certified in all the ancient Ayurvedic massages of called Abhyanga and all these hot oil massages.
And those are part of your practice
Yes,
here.
it's part of my practice, because Ayurveda delineates tools that we can use to stay in balance. It's not just diet. Diet and daily routine. What you eat and what you do habitually. There's not very many things that affect your life as much as that. But then there are other tools, the right spices that you can eat, and herbs that we can take to help us stay in balance. For example, ginger, for example, is a great spice or herb, whatever, that stimulates the digestion. We can see that it happens. If you have ginger and lemon in the morning, you can immediately feel that your digestive system is activated and starting to go. And then
It's
there's
so cool to just at least pay attention to
yes,
that, right? Be aware of that.
chamomile is calming to the body. And there's other herbs and stuff that we use to do different things, some things that are cooling. And it's all about finding balance in our life. It's this balancing act. And there are so many things that can throw us out of balance. So like I said, you know, like the tires on your car, you need to be in balance. And so so Ayurveda offered that, and it showed me how the use of oils, essential oils, can be balancing, and massage therapy. And yoga is also a part of Ayurveda. It's the fifth philosophy of Ayurveda. So I like to say that yoga comes from this great knowledge of Ayurveda. It's a part of it. And in that we have what we call pranayama and breathing exercises that oxygenate our body and cleanse and do all kinds of things. And then also meditation, which is I mentioned it last, but it's probably not the least of things. We need to be present in every moment and be here now so we can enjoy life, which is unfolding in the present moment. It's always happening now. It never happens tomorrow. And I sometimes ask people, is the past real and is the future real? And some people say, well, yes, they're real. And I say, really? Show me the way. Because if the past is real, I have a few things I'd like to unsay and a few things things I did that I'd like to change. But it's not real.
It's not like flatliners.
Yeah, you can't go back. You can't go back. You can only think of the past in the present moment, and it steals away the joy and the miracles that are happening before your very eyes. The moment you're lost in yesterday, you lost this moment. And then when you worry and you have anxiety about the future, does the future exist? And if it does exist, then show me the way, because I want to buy a lottery ticket and invest in some stocks that are going to, you know.
Exactly.
But we can't get there. It's only the thoughts of those things that happen now. So, so anyway, I did do that, and then to further my yoga practice, I went to yoga teacher training and got certified as a yoga teacher. So I'm a registered yoga teacher as well, and I enjoy sharing that wonderful practice, meditation and motion that yoga offers, and Tai Chi and all those things.
All that reminds me of a child. So you were kind of like born again, right?
Yes.
So you were this child, like a sponge.
Oh,
right?
yes.
And you're just like, give it to me, right?
Yes.
I want to learn it all, and you're just a sponge taking it all in, and you want to get more. Yeah.
And I haven't
awesome.
arrived. There's not a destination. There's
Exactly.
There's not a place.
It's never too late.
Because it's a journey, and I'm still on that journey.
Yeah.
Every moment I'm on a journey of discovery and learning. And the minute you think you know it all, you'll be humbled.
And I love sharing this with the community. I just get the feeling, we get the feeling that this is just like, I said to you the other day, the first time we came here, I felt like it's like Thanksgiving. Like coming home to a welcoming, loving family with, it's just warm, it's just a beautiful sanctuary. And you had some kitchery going. And so with all of this, this is just, I mean, it's just, I'm calm and I'm feeling this warm place in my heart just listening to you. I can imagine that there have been some challenges with maintaining this state. And so, I mean, I know this journey has been just amazing but challenging. How do you overcome the challenges or the points that might, you know, kind of humble you, so to speak? Do you have a mantra? Do you have
Well, I have a couple that I rely on, because when I really discovered that most of my suffering, and most everybody in America is suffering, you know, we're not having to walk 3 and 4 miles to get the drinking water.
Exactly.
We're not sleeping on dirt floors like many millions of people in this world are. We don't. We know. So many people, they don't know where their next meal is going to be coming from. And that's true suffering, when you have poverty where you have no resources, okay? And in this country we have amazing and abundant resources, and I really don't see the poverty. I see broke people, but I don't see the poverty true poverty. You know, in this country, most people have a car, and they have cell phones, even, you know. And I'm not want to get into a discussion of, you know, what levels of poverty are and all this. But I realized that my suffering, personally speaking for myself, was all mental. It's all mental suffering. And it becomes when we become attached to things, and we become attached to things that we think are going to complete us and make us happy. And usually it's a noun, a person, place, or a thing. When I get here and I marry this person or an outcome, then I'll be happy, you know.
Right, when you make so much money.
Yes,
Yeah.
when I'm rich, then I'll be happy,
Yeah.
you know. And so, you know, I realize that none of that is important, really. It's about just being in the present moment. So sometimes I'll catch myself in thought, and I'll be getting into the old habits of thought that, you know, I'm not good enough. And, you know, we're always the biggest judge of ourselves. We're the biggest critics of ourselves. We're the hardest on us. We think other people are thinking about us. Not really. They've got their own things going on. But we judge ourselves so harshly. And so I just catch myself. The thing is, can you remember to remember?
Yes.
You know, remembering to remember who you are or who you aren't is even more important. And then I say to myself, it's all just a story in your head.
I love that.
It's just a story in your head. And can I be the space for this? Can I just be here now and not be lost in thoughts?
Yeah.
You know? And when you can come and realize that you can find the space between the thoughts, so to speak, when you're there present and letting life unfold, then you have peace.
Just shut that story up, right?
Yes. Just learn to accept what is and not make a story about it.
Yeah.
You know, can you look around and look at your world and all the things that are happening around you and not create a mental, not add anything to it.
Yeah.
Not create a mental story about what's going on around you.
A fiction.
Yes, because, you know, we think we know, but we don't know. We don't know the whole story. We only see so much light with our eyes, and we only hear so much with our ears that we don't get the whole picture. So don't believe all your thoughts.
That's amazing.
It's all just a story in your head.
I love that. Now, when you first, did that just come to you, or that's something that just resonated?
You know,
did you write it down? Do you have it on your mirror?
It's probably one of the teachers I studied, you know.
Okay.
I realized one of the things that got me into the state of dis-ease that I was in is that I was listening to the wrong people. I was listening to the herd mentality that of our lives, that we're all headed in this direction, and we all want to get along, and we don't want to be an outsider. We want to follow, and so we don't look dumb or we don't look stupid. Or we don't, right? We want to fit in, right? And a lot of times this herd mentality is taking us places we shouldn't go, or things that we shouldn't do. For example, I'll give you an example. If you go to a restaurant today and you sit down, even in the middle of winter, they're going to give you a menu. And what's the next thing they give you? Usually they'll bring you something. You got a menu, and then what do you get first? Next.
The wine list, or the water, or
Water, right? What kind of water do they give you?
tap water.
Well, or ice water, usually.
Oh.
They put ice in it, right? And we don't even think about it, and it could be in the middle of the winter time. Why are we getting ice water in the middle of winter? We shouldn't be drinking ice things.
You're right.
We need to be drinking warm things to balance the cold that's out there and balance it. And you should never drink ice water anyway. But
I always ask for no ice just because it's sensitive on my teeth. But,
right.
Yeah.
But if you notice, next time you go to the restaurant, notice that they bring you ice water.
Always, and
it wrecks your digestion. It's really horrible for your digestion. But see, that's a herd thing that we do. We just don't even think about it.
So we should
We
just
do it
start
mindlessly.
cattle.
Yeah. So we're often doing things, you know, and we listen to advertising, you know, milk, it does a body good. Well, too much milk, it does not do a body good. And
That's a whole other topic.
it's a whole nother topic, and we don't, I don't want to get into the diet thing because, everybody's different.
Right.
And so everybody has different requirements. But for the most part is, I stopped listening to that. I stopped listening to things, and I started researching people and concepts and ideas that I wanted to be like. For example, love and joy and peace and forgiveness. And so I would Google quotes about those things, quotes about love,
That's a great idea.
quotes about forgiveness, and quotes about balance, or whatever it is that I wanted to, that I felt like I wanted to improve in my life. I would just look for those quotes. And that led me to the great masters. It led me to the Buddha, and it led me to Saint Francis of Assisi, and it led me to Martin Luther King and Eckhart Tolle and Jesus Christ and all the masters who have taught us how to live in life. And
So knowledge.
knowledge. And so then I created an I am statement and a list of the things that I wanted to be. I want to be love. I want to be peace. I want to be... No, actually I didn't write it like that. You don't say, I want to be. You're right. I am love. I am.
Yes.
So I'm just saying that those are the things I wanted, and so I had to convince my mind. I had to reprogram my mind of the things of the path I wanted to be on.
Yeah. Well, that's a good example of what you focus on and bring your attention to grows in your life,
Yes.
right? And so you don't want this other stuff, the world,
Right.
to grow. You want what you want in your life to grow, so you focus on that.
Yes.
And you have to be laser focused, otherwise all this other stuff starts taking over.
It wants
Yes.
to interrupt.
Yeah.
There's spiritual laws out there that we have to understand. If we really want to manifest things in our life, if you really want to create the life that you want, you have to follow the laws. There are certain laws out there, and one of those is the law of vibration and how we vibrate in our world. You hear of people who are kind of depressed. What kind of vibration? Is it a low vibration or a high vibration? Depression is a low. I'm feeling kind of low today. They're a little down. I'm feeling down. It's down. Or you're feeling in high spirits. What does that mean? Oh, I'm happy. I'm joyful. And we get a choice of how we feel. We don't just, we're not, unless, if we're conscious about it.
It's not dropped off at our front door.
No, it's not like, oh, look what the cat drug in. I've got depression today.
Right.
You choose that. You get to choose that. And so part of this daily routine that we need to follow that comes from thousands of years is to wake up with gratitude. First thing, stretch, and then express some gratitude, because gratitude is a high vibration. And as whatever you're vibrating, you're attracting.
Right.
As you vibrate, it's the cousin to the law of attraction. So if you're vibrating with this high level of gratitude, these high spirits of gratitude, then you'll attract more things to be grateful for in your life. It happens all the time.
Yep. And it's an amazing feeling.
And probably the most important thing is to use your imagination. It's the greatest gift that we were given. And to close your eyes before you go to sleep at night and imagine the life that you want. What are your greatest desires? What do you really want out of life? And then you imagine it, and then you mix that with the emotion of already having it. And if you do that on a consistent basis, in 6 months you won't recognize your life.
Wow.
It'll be
That's so
totally changed.
powerful, because your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. So if you tell yourself that, your brain believes it,
Yes.
right?
Your body believes it.
Your-
Your whole being believes it. Your trillions of cells believe it.
Exactly.
Yes. And so we need to be responsible for our vibrations. How are we vibrating in the world? Is it a positive or is it negative? And
It's like the energy we put out to the
yes,
world, right?
exactly.
And it comes back to us.
And to be aware of it is the grace. It's really the grace. I'm feeling a little down, and I need to change my life. I need to change my vibration. I need to start thinking of all the things I'm grateful for. And in America, we have so much to be grateful for. So that's...
I like that.
Yeah.
So if there's somebody, I mean, there's so many people out there, including, I mean, we've all gone through this at some time or other. If any of our viewers out there are really currently struggling and might be at a point where you were 4 or so years ago, it can be so overwhelming.
Yes.
Is there something that you might say to them that would help them maybe find the courage and strength to take the first step, whether that's in their mind or, you know,
Yes.
in action? Is there something you can share
So,
on that?
yes. So just keep in mind that life's about balance, right?
Mhm.
Left and right, up and down, front and back. You can't have one thing without the other. And you can't have hopelessness without hope. Hope is the other side of the coin.
That's okay.
So wherever, if you feel hopeless, look at the other side of the coin. There's hope out there. And if you really are ready to change your life, if you want it, you have to want it. You have to have a desire to be sick and tired of being sick and tired. You got to want it. And if you want it, then seek it. And seek and you will find it. And what I'm saying is, start educating yourself about, you know, if you want to be a good mechanic, go learn from a top mechanic how to do a car. You want to bake a great cake, go study with a chef. And if you want to heal your life, study with those people who will show you. Seek the people that can show you the way. And there's some great teachers out there. There are great resources.
And it's not usually turning the TV on,
No,
right?
Except for the Netflix.
yes, you have to, yeah, Netflix. Well, if you're watching positive things, it can be the TV is like everything else. It could be medicine or it can be a toxin.
Sure.
The way I was doing it with watching the news every day, all day long, it was very toxic to me, and I would get angry and I would yell at the TV, and you know, don't they know? It's just so all this ridiculous. But if you're using it to learn things, if you're using it to watch documentaries that improve your life, learn about your food, learn about what kind of foods to eat, and it's all out there. We've got Google, you know, top 10 sources of plant-based proteins, for example, you know, is great. Or just, you know, seek it. If you'll seek it, you'll find it. If you're looking to change your life, then you'll find it. And I think starting with food is a really good one, because very few things other than food and the habits that we have impact our life so much. And so
Awesome.
that's what I'd say. Start with that, and you know, look at people who you want to emulate. You know, they put their pants on the same way you do every day. They're not, you know, I mean, I'm just like everybody else. You know, it's just that I'm interested. I want to live my life with happiness and joy. You know, I mean, that's. And I want to, and so.
So when you talk about gratitude being one of the most important practices that brings you high vibration and joy and love,
Yes.
what are you grateful for?
Well, I'm always, you know, this has been something I've developed over the last couple of years, because sometimes you think, okay, I'm grateful for my kids, and I'm grateful for my family, and you go through this list. And of course you're grateful for those things, and then one day you wake up and you're like, yeah, I'm grateful for that, but I need something new to be, I need something I can anchor to every day.
Right.
I need something that the minute I think about it, I can be grateful. And so I'm grateful for this very breath that I'm able to take right now. For this breath. I'm grateful for the fact that I'm here as a witness to life. And I'm grateful.
That's so powerful.
Okay, so anchor your gratitude into the present moment. Are you happy to be just, and one of the things that gave me a lot of gratitude is, I'm grateful for all the experiences that I've had in my life, positive and negative, that brought me here. Okay, so now you've put a spin on even the positive or the negative things that have happened in your life. Be grateful for it, because it gave you, you know, it brought you to this point, okay?
Part of the journey.
It's part of the journey.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you're here now, and you can be grateful for being here. And so, and then there are those days where you even then you have a little hard time being grateful. Just start saying thank you, thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you, thank you, and just repeat it as, you know, like 100 times, like a mantra. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and smile when you do it. And eventually, you're going to find that you are in a state of gratitude. You've just tricked yourself to be in gratitude,
Right.
and that's good enough.
Yeah. Fake
and
it till you make it, right?
you just
There you
Sometimes
because,
that's what it
because
takes.
ultimately we're in charge of our vibration. We're in
Yeah.
charge of how we feel and what we're putting out. And you'll never change the world. You can't change the world out there and make your life better until you change what's going on in here first. It all begins here.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's an inside job, you hear them say, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's unhappy. Well, the only one who can change it is them.
Right.
And
yes.
so we need to take responsibility for the vibrations that we're putting out into the world. And as you change your vibration, as you visualize your life the way you want it to be and have that emotions, you'll begin to notice the change. And you have to be patient, because, you know, we live in such a immediate gratification.
Click a remote and.
You can't click the remote and change your life just like that, but it's a gradual, it's a subtle change. Everything is so subtle, you know, and that's why we're no longer infants and teenagers. We've grown, and you look in the mirror and what's happened to me? I've changed, you know.
Yeah, but you also flipped a switch. It just went from,
Yes.
you know, you just flipped a switch and you decided this is what you're going to do.
Yes.
And that's what it takes, is a decision,
yes, and
action.
I'm not saying that it's going to happen like that for everybody. It doesn't have to happen like instantaneous, but you have to know that my suffering was so intense that I felt it was life or death. And you know, it's like when somebody is maybe a drug addict or something like this, or they have to hit bottom sometimes. They have to hit that very bottom where there's nowhere else to go but up.
Right,
Either you're going to do it or you're going to die.
right.
And when
Like
you
you said,
hit
you
that,
have to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
you got to be sick and tired of it,
Yeah.
and you got to be wanting to change so bad, and you just say, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore, and I'm not listening to that anymore. And you have to be willing to make a change and go against the herd sometimes.
That's
Change can be
very fearful and
Yes,
scary.
we don't want that, but I'll tell you that is your greatest freedom, is when you go to a restaurant and everybody's getting ice water and you tell the waiter, can you bring me some warm water? Or room temperature, can you, no ice please, you know? And everybody looks at you and it's like, what are you doing, you know? Because there's this ego that wants to be right, you know, doesn't want to be wrong. You know, we don't want to be wrong. And so, but you have to stand strong in your belief and that what you're doing is right, and that you have to take care of yourself first. You take care of you. You have to be strong for yourself. It's like when you go on an airplane and they say, if you're traveling with a small child and the oxygen mask falls down, put it on yourself first, then put it on the child. Because if you are trying to get it on the child and you pass out, you both die. You know.
Right.
So if you want to help somebody, help yourself
first.
Yes, cure what's inside here first. Cure your life first, and then you can help others.
And that's so powerful. I think that's a really good place to kind of summarize where you are today with your passion for helping others. And you've always liked to do things for others and help others.
Yeah.
And you have a big family. You know, whether you wanted to or not, you've helped others. But now you've helped yourself, and you continue to help yourself. So you are spread. It's like wildfire. You're helping the community by sharing your movie mat movies, your yoga, your Ayurvedic practice. You have meetups,
Yes.
and it's just, I love it.
Well, I get these inspirations that give me an opportunity to share, and one of the things that, like the organic gardening meetup that we're doing. So, I think it's important that people take control of their own food. The biggest cause of obesity in America is deficiency and toxicity. And so our foods are grown and put in a box, and they're not nutritious. And many of our vegetables and many of the foods that we eat are sprayed with pesticides, and they're grown on soil-deficient lands. And so I think it's important that we reconnect to Earth and to Mother Nature, and to take our shoes off and go in the garden and plant your own food and do it organically. And then you can trust what you eat, and it's fresh and it's good.
And it's fun.
And it's fun. And and I have groups of people who, maybe you're growing lettuce and I'm growing carrots and you're radishes, and then we meet up and we exchange.
That's so cool.
So we're trading off, and we can do it all year long, and you basically get free food because you don't have to lay awake at night trying to figure out how to grow that stuff. It just grows. How does a tree grow? It just does, and it just is. And so, your food will do the same thing if you can just keep the weeds out of it. And it's really the same thing with your mind. You have to pick the weeds every once in a while.
I like that. Yeah, you've got to do some mind weeding.
Do some weeding.
Yes.
You grow, but you also pick the weeds. Yes.
And then you plant.
And so there's it symbolizes what's on the
Yeah.
outside is on the inside. You plant a garden, it grows by itself, but you need to make sure that it's de-weeded. And the time you spend there is great meditation time to contemplate life and its miraculous, the miracle that it is, really. And so that, and we do movies here. We're going to be showing Food Matters here in April,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
and
you would have never been able to do this had you not started here.
oh, absolutely. It begins on the inside. You have to start by curing your own life. When I was fat and overweight and obese and had all those problems, I didn't have any friends. I had nobody. I sat in my house. The TV's not your friend. But you think it might be.
I'm just.
Yes. But I had no one. I had no friends, and I didn't want anybody to be around because I felt so bad about myself.
Yeah.
And so in 4 short years, I've cured my life, and went to school, and
You've been busy.
became a registered yoga teacher, and I built this great wellness center.
So beautiful.
And so I am trying to help others realize the miracle that they are and the beauty that they are inside. They have.
Awesome, Bret.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
Yeah, thank you.
for sharing with the world and for doing what you do.
You're welcome.
We need more people like you.
Yeah.
Well, come on, I need to help more people do this so we can change the world.
Sure,
because
Definitely.
I believe that if more people are present in the present moment, if they can be here in this moment, then we can truly solve poverty, and we can around the world, and starvation and the wars. We won't have all those problems. We'll be connected to life, and it'll guide us in the way we should be.
Yes.
And so that's the goal, hopefully. Change the world.
One step at a time, one person at a time.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes.
All right.
Well, thank you again for your time and for inviting us into your beautiful sanctuary. And
We always do a high five.
yeah, do a
And
high
then
five. Yeah, instead of a toast, it's a high five.
Fantastic.
All right.